Alright guys, this is an FSD 13.2.7 video. I actually just got the update a couple days ago while I was in Mexico. So I'm going to try it out now, starting FSD. I did do one test loop already, so I have kind of gotten a little bit of experience with this version. It was just the kind of same loop I do every time, where I get to test the backing up, destination, parking, all the sort of things, speed bumps, school zones. So if you want to see that, you can go and look. It'll be on my channel. I actually have a whole playlist dedicated to test loop videos that kind of show the progression. So it's interesting to see the change. And yeah, this drive is a lot of straight roads, highway driving. So it may just very well be a lot of fast forwarding. There may not be that much interesting, but I just wanted to try out the new version, see if there is anything that happens. The big thing I'm going to be looking for that I was having issues with is stop signs, where I would come to almost a full stop, get down to like 1 kilometer an hour. The car would try to go and then it would have to stop again. It just made for long pauses at stop signs, which were quite awkward. So let's see, slowing down, get down to 0 and go instantly. That was perfect. That was very human. We'll see as we hit more stop signs, but to me that felt a little bit different and I missed it. I know this road is a 60, so I have to assume the speed limit that we just passed said 60. The car is saying 40. So that is unfortunate, and something that I noticed in my test loop already is that definitely not a part of this update is any sort of a fix for the nav and speed issues. Because yeah, we're going now exactly on the speed limit, a kilometer under the speed limit. And on this road, generally speaking, it's so straight, it's so open, people will go 70. So because the car thinks it's 40, we just never will go an appropriate speed limit. Yeah, I'll leave it for now because there's nobody behind us. I'm not too worried about it. But it is unfortunate that that isn't something that has been fixed so far. It's a clear day. I cleaned all the cameras. I don't think you can see them while we're stopped or driving. No, I was gonna go through the camera preview and show you, but like the front cameras, I went through with a chamois. I wiped every camera, sprayed them all clean. So everything is about as clean as it possibly could be. And if FSD is still reading speed limit signs wrong, I don't know what to say about that. That's unfortunate. I've also seen 2 videos, and it's hard to not let them affect me too much, but I've seen 2 videos, I think both were on 13.2.7, where I'll pop one up if I can find it, but the car like literally tries to turn into an oncoming vehicle, which is the craziest thing ever, and I don't really understand why. Like, you can even see it in the route planner. Like, this thing directs itself into the car. I think Chuck was one of the people that had it. If I'm wrong, maybe it isn't Chuck, I don't know, but definitely 2 people have had that issue that I've seen so far. And knowing that that's even like potentially possible really takes away a lot of the confidence that I have in full self-driving, when the idea of driving down this road and the car all of a sudden being like, oh, turn left, that's something I wouldn't even considered of happening before. And now that I think about it, as we get near vehicles, I'm like, okay, well, I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah. So there you go. We just passed a 60 sign, and that time it visualized it properly. And so now we're going to probably go a more appropriate speed. So didn't require an intervention, but if there was anybody behind us, that definitely would have been more of a problem. We were just lucky that we weren't having someone come up behind us there. And in case any of you are also wondering, so the version 13.2.7 that just came out, the release notes are identical to 13.2.2 and 2.6. So it's, I mean, I think I've talked about this in the past. I do wish maybe it's more complicated than that, and they can't just do it. But I do wish, oh, we have an Amazon van pulled over here, and a van that looks like they're almost like backing out maybe. No, they're stopped. So I would slow down a lot more as a human, but I guess it's fine. Really well done. That was very confident, the maneuvering. I maybe would have signaled if I was, again, just getting super critical of what we did there. Good job. What I was saying, though, is I do wish on these updates that maybe if there's no, like, big improvement that comes out within these point releases, that's fine. But I have to assume they're tackling issues like the one I was talking about where it struggles with stop signs, or the issue that's been in version 13 for a while where it will begin to creep out on a red light. Those are two like pretty major things that Tesla has to be aware of. And it'd be really nice to know if that was even on their radar, if they like addressed it, and B, if it is fixed or like was presumed to be fixed in one of these point releases, if they mention that, because then that would just help me as a tester and anybody that's using this software understand what's actually going on in these changes. Because, I mean, ultimately this thing is, like, I'm trusting with my life. So I would like to have the curtain pulled back a little bit on what exactly they're doing between these point releases, just so I can understand the software that's driving me. If somebody doesn't care, they don't need to really read the release notes. And I don't think they need to spend a whole day writing release notes, but just something. I'll pop it up as well on the screen, but last night, there was an update to the Tesla app, and it looks like within that update, there's the first lines of code that reference the CyberCab and robotaxi, however you want to word it, but it talks about, I think, like car cleanliness and something else. Not that exciting in the sense of like it's literally like 3 lines of text, but it's the first like real undeniable like proof of the cyber taxi or robocab existing, which is really cool. Like that's going to be obviously what they the app that they plan to use in June. So yeah, it's cool that it's coming to fruition, and I am really, really, really curious how that's going to go for them. Like I'm a big FSD fan. Clearly, I spend a lot of time on it. I am critical of it because I just try to be realistic, but we'll see. June is very, very, very soon, and putting people in cybercabs in 4 months from now will be interesting. Like, I think the software is very good, but I still think it makes mistakes. So I really hope they don't. The worst thing they could do would be to like rush it to market and have people in the cybercabs and have something happen. Like if somebody got hurt or anything close to that, it'd be pretty catastrophic for Tesla. I mean, Waymo has like however many millions of miles driven without any incidents, and then some guy gets stuck doing circles in a roundabout and that goes viral. So that, in the grand scheme of things, that was so minor, but autonomy is so highly criticized that it doesn't take much for people to go against it. So if Tesla rolls out CyberCab and that day one crashes, I don't know, it'd be really hard for them to recover. So I hope them setting the June deadline is realistic for them, and I hope it goes well. I really, truly do. So we'll see. There's a world where I may travel down. Oh, this light's gonna turn yellow, and we're either gonna, I guess, just go through it. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, there's a world where I may travel down and do it if there's any sort of like event around it. Perhaps I may. We'll see. Let me know if you guys would like to see that. I assume there'll be other big YouTubers and influencers covering it. And for me as a Canadian, it's like quite a drive to get there, or quite a flight to get there. But it could be cool to be one of the first people to try it. So I'm going to touch my phone because I'm actually just going to check something. We're going 50. I would say that this is a 60. Oh no, okay, it's a 50 zone. I'm wrong. Google Maps is just an easy way to like fact check the speed limit because it tells you. So the speed limit is in fact 50, but you can see that like we have someone coming up behind us as though we're driving under the speed limit. We're going 7 over the speed limit at the moment. And I'm sure this person wishes we were going faster. I think in the last video I posted there, we were going 12 over the speed limit on like a residential road and I got passed. Like, it is just crazy how people drive here. It's like Mad Max. Okay, so we're in a 60 zone now. Again, like just being hypercritical, we should be going faster. It's fine, but it's definitely slow. Like we're now going under the speed limit. We're going exactly 60 in the 60 zone. 59. So I'm hoping that in one of these versions that this all kind of gets addressed. 57 in a 60. It's not normal. And again, it's just, if you're sitting in the back, yeah, you probably wouldn't notice this. It's as a driver, when you're like aware of what other people on the road are doing, I'm just aware that there's a person right behind us that is probably very annoyed that we're going, now we're fine, but as we were back there going under the speed limit. And I try to be as like, I don't know, appropriate as I can with my speed as possible so that I fit in on the road. And there's definitely times that FSD does a poor job of that and it makes me feel uncomfortable. On the new Jay Leno's garage, he had Franz and Lars from Tesla and the new Model Y, and they kind of went over everything about it and then went for a test drive. And then while they were in the shop looking at the car, they pointed out the front bumper camera and then basically said, with this, they now have the ability to do a 360 video. Like, this could all be stitched together and be a 360 camera for parking and moving around. That's effectively what Tesla Vision is. Like, if you come into a parking spot and slow down, it kind of becomes like an overhead view, and then you'll even see like the lines where you're parking and things like that. But it's in a like computer generated world. Like, you're not seeing the real representation of the world. You're seeing like a black and white or white and yellow, whatever version of it. For those of you that use this car and park, are you happy with Tesla Vision? Or like, if there was the option to have a 360 camera instead while you're parking, would you rather use that? I'm just curious because I've heard people argue it both ways, and in some ways it is nice to just like, without a shadow of a doubt, like just see what the camera is seeing, and then for like pulling into something, know that you're this close to a curb as you get to it, versus the car just beeping at you and telling you to stop, because that's kind of ambiguous on how close you are. So yeah, for me personally, like if there was a retrofit offered for the front bumper camera for this and it offered that functionality afterwards, I would almost certainly pay for it. Okay, so we are getting on the highway right up here. I'll keep it in standard. The only thing that I did change for this road, because I felt like we were going slow, I had bumped up the max speed to 20%. On the highway, that's going to be too quick, because then if it's 100 kilometers an hour and I have it at 20%, the car will go 120, which for me personally is quicker than I'd want to go. So I'm just adjusting that. I wouldn't call that an intervention or anything. That's just like a mid-drive preference change. I don't know how you want to word it, but that does kind of, and I've brought it up in past videos, that shows you the struggle with setting a speed profile with a percent, because it doesn't work. When you, like, 20% of 50 kilometers an hour, that's fine to speed by, but 20% of 100 kilometers an hour becomes a lot to speed. That becomes 20 kilometers an hour to speed by, which the numbers like exasperate. Is that the right word? The numbers like scale up so much that doing stuff based off a percentage, I don't love. I would love for there to be like a fixed or a different option. I don't think there is, right? No. So, yeah, if I could like toggle that to fixed percent, like if I was just always speeding by like 10 to 15 kilometers, I'd be much happier versus 15 to 20%. Okay, getting on the highway here. I hope that this version, and Ashok had said that there was an upcoming improvement to follow distance and everything. I hope that this version is a little bit more like space given between the car in front of me. Again, I don't know because there's nothing in the release notes, and that's kind of what I was getting at earlier when I was talking about that. It'd be nice to like understand that that is something I should be looking for, or if there was no work put into that, then I know that I shouldn't be looking out for that. That said, right now, flawless, perfect. This distance, if we keep this for the entire drive, I'm ecstatic. Like, it may be hard to count it on the camera, but I'm looking at when that car passes like one of these white checkered lines, and I'm going to count from there. So 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, basically 3 full seconds, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 3 seconds of distance to me is ample opportunity to make a change if necessary. And we moved up a little bit so we could pass. So yeah, I think that's good. As long as we pull back over right away here. I'm just curious, for those of you that watch the channel, any of you that are getting the new Model Y, do you mind just letting me know in the comments, or if one person has said that they are, can people just upvote it? I just want to get an idea on how many people are getting that vehicle. Just to get perspective on how, I guess, popular it is, because it seems like it's quite popular, but I have no idea. Like, online, people are raving about it, but also some people don't like it as much. Had I not had this car, undoubtedly, I would have bought the new Model Y, because it pretty much improves upon everything that the old one did. And with the launch edition, although expensive, if you get all the little add-ons, it's a pretty good deal, all things considered, if you wanted all those options, because it kind of packages them up and gives you sort of like a discount per se. So yeah, if you are getting a Model Y, let me know, and I'm excited for you if you are getting one, because they seems like a great car. I messaged Tesla today because I'm hoping that they're going to start doing test drives soon, and as soon as I can get in to do that, I'll try and do a video with cameras and stuff exactly like this, demoing the new Model Y. I may go and stop today at the sales center and just see in person if they say if I could do one. So we'll see. Okay, nice job right here. We're passing all the slow moving vehicles. We're moving in the left lane with this van. We're exactly as close as I'd want to be. No closer than this, but it's perfect. It's interesting. So in the new Model Y, I was watching the Jay Leno's Garage video that I was talking about. If you use FSD at all, you'll know what I'm talking about here, but when the car is braking and using like the real brake, the brake pedal will move. Like, you'll see the brake pedal move as though it's like a human driving. They said in the Model Y that they've changed the way the braking works so that actually using the brake pedal, the first bit of it, because currently the only way to regen brake in a car is to lift your foot off the accelerator, and then the second you touch the brake pedal, you're on the real brakes. I guess they changed that, so now like if you go to put your foot on the brake and there's the ability to, it will use the regen braking and then the real brakes if it needs to. Good job getting over. which is cool because it means that unintentionally you'll be a more efficient driver, just in the fact of if you use the brake pedal to slow yourself down, you'll now be regen braking. But along with that, I guess because of the way it's all set up, FSD doesn't need to move the brake pedal anymore, which it's interesting. Like, it's so small and it's stupid, but the brake pedal moving gets confusing if you go to use it and it's like depressed a little, whereas now it'll always be like up in the ready position no matter what. So like, very small thing, but it's cool that is. It's almost like how there was the talks of the Cybertruck, because it's steer by wire. Technically the wheel doesn't need to move at all in full self-driving, because the car can do all the driving and the wheel could have just stayed static flat, for reasons like of safety. And when you go to take over, you want the wheel to be where you'd expect it, so the wheel does move. But very technically, the wheel in the Cybertruck does not need to move in full self-driving. So now the brake pedal not moving in full self-driving is kind of one step towards a more like autonomous feeling car. Because imagine if your wheel wasn't moving and your pedals weren't moving and the car was just driving itself. That's, I'm sure, the reality and future that Tesla's like hoping for, as well as just there being no brake pedals and no steering wheel. Okay, so I'll say here we're a little bit closer than I would like to be. 1,000. Okay, we're backing off. So just as we merged left with this car, we were about 1 second away, but it's fine now. So I'll answer you as well on YouTube, but my phone, you can't see it with the way the layout is, but my phone, I just got a notification on the video that I just posted of the test loop, and this person, Ann Mitt, they asked, is FSD more stressful than just driving? And now that I'm saying this, I wonder if I don't get that many comments, but in some ways, like for me to go through my YouTube comments on my previous video in this video will maybe answer a lot of questions that people would have anyways. So I'll do that now as well. I'll respond to you in the YouTube comment as well. But yeah, they said, is FSD more stressful than just driving yourself on manual? Being on alert for mistakes that I'm trying to read, but pay attention. I'll put this comment on the screen. How about that? So you can read the comment and I'll answer it. Okay, so it looks like this person is exactly what I was asking just 2 seconds ago. It's somebody that has a launch Model Y in order, so that's very cool. And along with the launch Model Y, you don't have an option, but you get full self-driving. Like when you buy the new Y, you get full self-driving with it as a package. So they're just asking if using full self-driving is more stressful than just regular driving. It's a really good question. And I think it's a question that would probably vary person to person. So I have 34,000 kilometers driven on this car. I would argue that like at least 80% of that or more is on full self-driving. So what is that, like God, like 25,000 kilometers? My math might be off. Let's say I have 25,000 kilometers of full self-driving like under my belt. At this point, I'm really comfortable with it. So for me, there isn't a lot of stress in using it. I have the utmost confidence that we're not about to just like shoot left into this ditch or do anything that would put me in danger in such a way that I couldn't respond to it in time. So I like it and I use it, and I find it takes a lot of the like stress of driving off of me. Actually, I generally like, I don't have to worry about the speed. that said, I'm glancing at the speed and realizing that we're going 30 kilometers an hour over. But generally speaking, like, I don't really have to worry about the speed that we're going. I do in these videos because I'm talking about it. Like, I'm just trying to like explain the drive. But if I'm just driving and not recording, I don't even really glance at the speed. I don't really worry about lane centering. So all those like minor decisions that go along with driving, even just, it sounds stupid, but like keeping your foot on the gas to like make sure you're going the appropriate speed, I don't have to do that. Like, I gotta just rest my foot. And it's an incredibly simple thing, but if you're driving for an hour, being constantly like on and off the accelerator to keep a good speed, it does. Sorry, there's a car coming really quickly behind us. So I would hope that after this, we pull over into the right lane. I'll finish my story in a second here. Oh no, they're just gonna pass on the HOV lane. We're going 35 kilometers an hour over the speed limit, and this guy is like zapped about that, which is so funny. Yeah, no, so for me, like, FSD is a lot. It takes a lot of the stress of driving off of me. It still makes mistakes, so you still have to pay attention. But on long road trips and long drives, there's so much of that that's being handled by the car that I don't really worry about it. But that said, to kind of like round back to how I started this, I think if you're new to FSD, it's definitely more stressful using FSD than just driving, because everything is brand new to you. You have no idea what the car is and is not capable of. So something as simple as like right now, this car is going to change lanes and move over because there's a vehicle behind us. I have the utmost confidence that's going to work. If you've never been in a car that's driven itself, and just the idea that it could signal and move over into a lane is kind of baffling. And that same goes for like if there's a red light. Like if we were on this road and I was driving and there was a red light up ahead, I'm 100% certain that the car is going to see it, slow down, and stop in time. I vividly remember the first time driving with FSD. I was with my wife. I hit the button, and like we were coming up to either a stop sign or a red light, and both of us were just like, "Holy shit! Like, is the car going to stop, or what's going to happen here?" And so for sure, like that's more stressful. But once the car just continues to do the right thing every time, you kind of ease up on that and you become more and more confident in its ability. So I know the things that it can do, and I know the things that it can't do. I know that it won't mess up. I've never had it just run a red light, other than the issues where it was like stopping at a red light and going, which is different. But I've never had it just like randomly try to run a red light. And then, so that takes that just removes that layer of like concern from me. So yeah, like I think once you become comfortable with it, it is easier than driving. And then especially as well, understanding its limitations lets me know when to be alert, because Chuck actually just had a really good video, Chuck Cook, where he talked about this, and he talked about it, related it to pilots and the hours of service to accidents. And there's this like bell curve that shows like, no, the bell curve is for something else, but it's this curve of like new pilots are a lot more focused and on and paying attention. So like they're likely to not make dumb mistakes because you're paying attention to everything. And then once you get like comfortable with something and relaxed, then there's a lot more of a potential to make a mistake because you're complacent. Absolutely, I'll admit there may be some of that with FSD, and the fact of I do trust this so much that there's times where when it does make a mistake that I'm not expecting, it catches me off guard, and I'm like, holy shit, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit of a rant. I'm trying to like get this out and explain it, but that's another thing where I wish that Tesla was more upfront about like known issues as well. Like undoubtedly there are issues in every FSD version, right? Like we all know that. We know that, like I said, I'm bringing it up again, but the issue with it like creeping out from red lights, the issue how full self-driving doesn't understand school zones. I know that, 100% know that. So I know that it will go into a school zone, it will see 30, but it will still try to speed. I disengage, it's fine, there's no stress. I hope it doesn't turn right here. Okay. That was wrong. We're 160 meters away from this thing, and it tried to take like a non-exit. Like if Tesla was like very open with the issues, and so when like a version came out and they said, here's FSD version 13, these are the things we've worked on, bang, 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 these things are still known issues. The car will still speed bumps are sometimes missed, X, Y, Z, then that lets the person know what to look out for. Because otherwise, they're just waiting till something goes wrong, and it's a lot more stressful. But if you just at least have some inkling on like what could go wrong, it prepares you a lot more for it. Yeah, that was like a 20-minute answer to a 1-minute thing. We're now merging, I think, down to one lane. Seems like it. I would hope that we'll just go, well, no, we should go behind this white van. See, like this is something that I know FSD struggles with, and that's like lanes ending and merging. It doesn't always like respect it properly. So for me, I'm like very ready to take over right now. If you were a new FSD driver, you'd be like, well, why wouldn't it do this? This is so simple. For like the one of you that's still watching after I rambled for like an hour there, I appreciate you still being here. Okay, this is confusing. See, like, this van was very polite to let us in, but we were wrong. Like, that was zipper merge, whatever you want to call it, should be 111111. The car needs to be a lot better about doing that. And I might have to, okay, we're also stopped so far back. Because we've already probably pissed off this van by cutting in front of him, and then to stop like 8 feet back from the stop line, I just had to press the accelerator to get us like up to where we should be. So yeah, that's something that I wish FSD was more cognizant of. If a lane's ending and the car in front of you has got in, and the other car, like where we were and where the car was, we should have just slowed down and let that white van go by, and then us take the next spot. That's how any human would do it. Yeah, I hate being rude on the road, and that was kind of a rude move. And then to follow that up with like then stopping like 10 feet behind the stop line, people aren't gonna like you. Okay, so doing a good job here. The only thing, and it's arguable, because this is a 2-lane, I don't think this is a highway, but maybe it is. We should be over in the right lane. Like, we're turning left in 2 kilometers. We're going over the speed limit, which is great, but we've been passed by 2 vehicles now. There's nobody in the right lane. I would move over, personally, just to be, again, as always, like everything I say, I just want to be polite on the road. It doesn't hurt me to be in the right lane. There's no negative, and there's just 0 chance of ever. Yeah, this is a highway, Stevenson Highway. So very technically, we should be over. I'm going to just hit the signal button, and we don't move. I've heard that this is a problem. So I'm going to disengage and report it. FSD not moving over when I signaled, as well as it's staying in the left lane when vehicles are passing us on the right in standard mode. Oh, Kilo went away. I tried to report it. Yeah, so that's a bit frustrating because now I've moved over so this person can pass us on the left as they should. That's the rules of the road. That's how people do it. I have no idea why FSD doesn't want to. It makes sense now. We're 700 meters away. Absolutely. Let's get over. Let's stage for our left turn. But when we're 2 kilometers out, we should move over. And that changing lanes thing, like that's semi-new, because in old versions of FSD, you'd hit the lane change button and every time it would do it. And it seems like lately it's more reluctant to like listen to user input. I'll test that again if I'm on a 2-lane road and have the ability to just like move a lane over. I'll see if I can prompt it. Okay, so I'll go right now. Nice job. I think where we're going is like an apartment complex or townhouse. So I'll let it try to destination park. I have no idea what to expect here. So I'll include the drive home in the same video just so it's part of one drive. But overall, I don't think this is a big change from 13.2.2, so I wasn't expecting a lot. Maybe I will say stop signs seem to be improved. We only did like 2 or 3. And maybe the highway behavior is a little bit better. But there's still the lingering issues. There's still the speed control issues, the camping the left lane unnecessarily issue, which I hate so much. Merging in vehicles, as we saw when we got off the highway. Stopping at inappropriate spots on the road before stop signs and things like that, where I had to coach the car to go up. All relatively minor, but packaged up, it makes for a not perfect experience, and that's what we're trying to strive for right now. So if I would have hit the button, closed my eyes, yeah, the car would have got us here. And if I was sitting in the back seat and had hit the button, assuming nothing happens in the next 1 minute, this would have been a ride that would have been unremarkable as far as like, I wouldn't have said anything that it did was wrong. We would have gotten to our destination. I would have said, thank you, Uber driver, and hopped out. So there is a lot to be said about that. I mean, the car just drove itself and did an incredibly good job. It's just, from a hypercritical standpoint, it isn't perfect. So, yeah. I mean, it's cool. That's very, very cool to have pressed a button, driven nearly an hour, and look, like, we're coming to a stop sign. The car's going to stop, and it's going to go. All these things are happening, and it's all really good. So I just can't wait for it to get perfect. Speed bump. We were going slow, so I guess it didn't have to slow down. So if it was me, I'd park on the road. I don't even know if this is... I think technically we came in the wrong way here. This feels like a one-way, but it didn't say that. Okay, so we're here. I'm just gonna park and then I'll see you guys in a minute.